episode 6 of Cards Subject to Change. I am joined, as always, by the All-Father, Darius Carter, by the God King and 50 other monikers, Danny Maff. I am Shawn Donavan. And we are joined by Dr. McGillicuddy's Cherry Whiskey today. Not saying we want the sponsorship, but we'll gladly take it. Anybody out there want to give them the Iggy? So, it smells good, doesn't it? Yep. Get the waft.
I can't wait to taste it.
Oh, my goodness.
So I think today we'll start off, because this was a topic brought on by you, Darius. We're going to call this Leaving the Nest. So since you started with the topic, let's start with you.
Yeah, leaving the nest, the conversation that we all have to have as performers, you know, as you are getting better, as you're learning your craft, as you're improving, seeing yourself closer to the main event. Maybe you are seeing yourself in main events in your home promotion, your home places. There comes a point where you have to realize that there's more. You have to realize that things are bigger than the promotion that you frequent or the promotions that you frequent. You know, it's great to be on top at one place. You know, it's cool, especially that first time that you get to be on top. But you need to expand, and expound upon it as well. But you need to expand and go to more than one place, 2 places, 3 places. What does that mean? Sometimes that means you have to take a risk. Sometimes you have to take a gamble, and you have to pull yourself away from some place to go somewhere else, or to let yourself be open, let yourself be free. You have to take that risk and bet on yourself, and that's what the conversation is about, is betting on yourself as a professional wrestler. How you're showing up to it, and you talk about this all the time, how you show up to the venue, how you look. It starts from the moment you arrive and get out of your car to the moment you get into your car to go back home. How do you have that all turned on? And if you have that all turned on every step of the way, you will see more bookings. It's a fact. You will see more opportunities, but you have to bet on yourself, and you can't get comfortable or complacent being at the top at just one place or 2 places. So leaving the nest, taking a chance on yourself, trying new things, something that all of us have been able to do and still be veterans. And you can still be around 10, 15, 20 years, even longer, taking these roads, because the roads keep on going in so many different ways. But you have to take a risk and bet on yourself. And not enough wrestlers these days are betting on themselves. They're betting on someone else. They're holding on to someone's hand, riding a coattail. And by all means, listen, it's easier. It's nice to be in the game. I get it. But if you want legitimacy and if you want to build yourself as a person in this business, you got to stay with it.
Yeah.
You have to commit to it, and you have to bet on yourself. Believe on the reflection in the mirror. Believe in yourself in your gear. Believe in yourself in your promos. Yes, promos. Believe in yourself in your entrance music. If your entrance music doesn't tell me who you are, then why are you coming out to it? What does it mean? If you put all of these things together, you should be able to bet on yourself safely and leave the nest.
Yeah. You talk about, what's the phrase, right? Always take the road less traveled, right? Yes, you could take the road most people want to travel, and that's, to me, staying complacent, right? Being that big fish in a small pond mentality, right? Yes, it's great, the place you trained at or the place you frequent, your home promotion, if you want to call it that. No one says you can't still put your time into that and give back to the place that gave to you. You can still make that a priority if you prefer, but most home promotions aren't running every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that is the ability where you say you have to bet on yourself. You have to get out there. And I think today's independence, why a lot of guys do and girls maybe do not bet on themselves, is because we've talked about this, the mentality of society in a younger generation, the entitlement, the instant gratification. They want to be able to only go to drive, do an event 4, 5, 6 hours later if there's a guaranteed booking.
Right.
The road less traveled is, and I know lots of people, and we all know lots of people that are making a name for themselves and already have a household name on TV, went the road less traveled, drove the 6, 7 hours, and just showed up at an event to help set up, to help with the ring, to help with merchandise, concessions, ring the bell, do the music, do the camera, whatever it is. They've done it without a guaranteed booking. And I can tell you, I have seen it. It has happened to me. I'm sure it has happened to you. If you serve first with the right places, they will notice, they will pay it forward, and eventually you will earn a spot. But you have to travel that road in order to get there. Now, are you going to get outside and immediately work in front of 500, 600, 700 people?
Right.
No.
Be realistic.
You have to be realistic. You have to start on the small shows. You have to build a brand and a name for yourself. And as long as you do that and you network and meet the right people, as your experience level grows, so will the number of people that you work in front of. Does it happen automatically sometimes for young talent? Yeah, it does. It's very rare that some people just have that it factor right at the start, but not necessarily everybody does. So you have to start and you have to build. People have to remember it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, right? I've always said, focus on the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
If you focus on the journey and you learn, eventually at a certain point, when it's the right place, the right time, in front of the right people, you will get to that destination.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
No need to rush it.
No.
People are so ready to sprint and run out of gas, and enjoy the sights, enjoy the, and enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
Every now and again you got to stop and look at yourself and say, look at what I've done for myself.
Yeah.
Look where I'm at. Like, we got to remember that we all wanted to be a wrestler at some point. We didn't, you know what I mean? We all had that, that passion, that dream, that thing we were clinging to, that brought us to the training center for the first time, that taught us to roll and tuck and hit the ropes and all of these things. So let's not lose that along the way, but we got to be building upon ourselves, and we have to have the confidence in ourselves as performers that we can do more.
Yeah.
Right? And it is paying homage to your places. You got to be loyal to your places. You always have to show up for your places. The places that put on for you and helped set you up to where you are today, absolutely. But getting in a rut, getting stuck, you have to be able to trust yourself enough. Hey, look, maybe I got to drive 2 more hours out, 3 more hours out. Maybe I do get a little bit less sleep. But if you really want this, you'll put that in, and then boom, you get that Friday booking, that Saturday booking. It's out there. I see people. I see the locker rooms changing. You see the locker rooms changing. You can see who's putting in that work. And I'm not just talking about the mouth, chirping work. I'm talking about going in the ring and doing it the right way, bell to bell, entrance to entrance.
Yep.
Those people, those are the ones, okay, I'm seeing you more in those locker rooms.
Yep.
But you got to leave that nest.
Yep.
You have to sprout your wings.
Well, I mean, Maff, you and I talk about it all the time, right? We always say, do you want to be a pro wrestler or do you want to play pro wrestler? And I know you and I have talked about that many a times. I mean, what's your thoughts on, leaving the nest from your experiences, where you came from, or, what you've seen with other people?
Well, leaving the nest, there's levels to leaving the nest. And I could use different examples, right? I will use myself first as an example. Where I started at Jersey Old Pro Wrestling. I started, working with Magic, gentleman by the name of Andrew Morgan, who does not get enough praise for what he's done.
One of my trainers.
With a lot of talent. And
Thank you for
thank you, Magic.
Thank
Love
you,
your
Magic.
teaching.
Hey, cheers. Just
Cheers
Teacher.
to Magic, because he's taught me a lot too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just saw him at the Monster Factory.
There you go.
It's always a pleasure to see him.
And from working with Magic, that's where he introduced me to Homicide and the Brooklyn Clique. And Magic said to me, he says, Danny, he says, you'll always be a Jersey All Pro guy. This is where you started. But I can only teach you so much. Now you have to go
Right.
learn that other stuff.
Right.
I was like, what other stuff?
Right. You think you feel like you figured it out.
Until that point, I had never saw. I didn't know what New Japan Pro Wrestling was. I didn't know what All Japan Pro Wrestling was. I still going to Jersey All Pro 3 days a week. I would still go to the Doghouse twice a week. So I was still training with Magic. And then I would still go on Wednesday. I would go Monday, Wednesday, Thursday to Jersey All Pro. And then Tuesdays and Fridays, I would go to the Doghouse. And that's where I was introduced to Japanese strong style wrestling.
The real strong stuff.
But I had to leave the nest.
Right.
Okay, to go. And my teacher pushed me. He pushed me. He says, go, fly. Go with them and learn what you're going to learn over there. And what I learned was a certain degree of toughness that I needed to learn. I needed to meet and train with Low Key, with Homicide, with Monster Mac, with Lathan, with Louie, with Papa Don, with all of these guys, man, with Julius Smokes. I needed that. I needed that stink, you know what I mean? I needed that edge, because it was like, man, you got an edge already. He says, you're going to fit in perfect over
We just
there.
got to cultivate it. We got to craft it.
You know, and because the second Homicide walked in the door, he said, who's that guy? And he said, well, that's Danny. He says, I want him. And he said, okay. He said, he doesn't request a lot of people.
Right.
So off I went.
Right.
But I still stayed, you know what I mean, with my Jersey All Pro. But I was just now, instead of 3 days a week, now I'm in the ring 5 days a week. So now I'm progressing faster. And then on the weekends, I'm on the road with Monster Mac. And now we're really starting to progress. And I'm starting to, you know, I was a slow learner, you know what I mean? I would watch a lot. And learn. And I would wait for my time to get in. And bam, you know, I would hit it and I would knock it out. So, okay, well, this works. Oh, that doesn't work. And from there, then you start going to Pennsylvania. Then we started traveling with the Haas brothers. And then, you know, it was, again, you know, we go to a little bit of New England, a little bit of Kettner over there, and then Delaware. You know what I mean? A little bit of CZW over here. You know, now we're hitting in New York. We're hitting over here. We're all over the place. I'm like, holy shit, this is really happening. But you get complacent. Because you say, okay, well, I'm here. As I said, it's different levels. Okay. Then I came back. Okay. Now it's Ring of Honor. Then I get to sit under the tree of Gabe Sapolsky. Okay. And I learned a lot under Gabe Sapolsky. Brother, that is a mad scientist. And I give him credit because he's never been in a wrestling ring, but he knows the business. I learned so much from him. And the only thing that I wish was that I would have met Gabe with what I know now.
Well,
because at the time that Gabe was feeding me, I didn't get it, man. It was too much. And I said this to him one time. I said, Gabe, I said it on an interview maybe. They asked me, about Gabe. And I said, well, the best way I could describe my time around Gabe was I wasn't ready. It was too much, too fast for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a little bit of a slow learner, but that's to my fault.
It takes a lot to be able to say that too. You got to be able to admit with yourself how you learn and different levels to it. We don't, again, it's not a race. It's not about getting signed within a year or 2 years. Because look at
how long it took Joe to get to the dance.
Don't
Samoa
rush.
Joe. Look at how much time it took Daniel Bryan. You know what I mean? To Dragon to get to the dance. You know what I mean? These are all guys I've
inspired our generation.
I've been on the road with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they was on the grind, man. AJ. You know what I mean? All of these cats, man, it took them time. And sometimes, your body pays the price, but it's rewarding when you finally get there.
Absolutely.
I can't speak for the finish line, like, to where they've gotten, but I've seen where they've gone, and I've had some pretty deep conversations with guys like Samoa Joe and guys like AJ, about, hey, man, I'm happy to see what you've done, and blah, blah, blah. And the journey, the struggle, right? The road, the friggin' obstacles that come in your way, And I always say this, you have to be more stubborn than the obstacles that land in your path.
Absolutely.
You have to be.
You got to be able to run through them.
And you got to be comfortable at times being uncomfortable.
That's a callback.
Yeah.
Because we have said that.
Because and there was a lot of learning trees that I had to sit under that a lot of people don't get the credit for. Mike Morgan was another learning tree that I sat under.
Great man.
Okay, because Mike Morgan taught me how to, we know you know how to work. You know how to do the crazy Japanese stuff. We know you got to, okay. But now we're going to slow it down and you're going to tell a story. It's okay. Then I got that aspect. He gave me the title. He gave me a long run. I learned what it was like to work a story. Yeah. And then in that time, I met Savio Vega. And then I did my time in Puerto Rico. And then working, when you're working in Puerto Rico and Savio is producing all of your segments, I don't know if you've ever seen or really sat down and focused on a segment in Puerto Rico. Man, those are so well done and they're so well put together. And like everything means something. Yeah.
Passion.
And then the first program that I got to play with was me and a guy by the name of Mo Sexton, which is Mario Bocora.
I was just saying, yeah.
And man, let me tell you, I miss my brother, man. I miss my brother a lot.
I miss Mario too, a lot.
And, I get goosebumps talking about it. It's about the 10-year anniversary of the match that we had in Rawway with Franny. And I would like to do that match again, just because it's the 10-year anniversary. But, and Mario, Beast Guy.
Yeah.
I'm
Shout
thinking
out
of you.
to Mario Boccara.
Yeah, we got to do some fun stuff in Ace too.
And,
I think you'd seen one of those matches.
Yes. And then from there, I met a guy who's been very influential, like in what in the final piece or product. Like it's always about like where you start and how you end up, right?
Right. How you expand upon that.
And let me tell you something. I sat under Pat Buck's learning tree.
Pat Buck.
Okay.
Another great man. And
that man, he explained wrestling in a way where I saw it different. And he showed me he taught me the WWE way, the way he was taught and where he was. Right. I believe it was OVW, FCW, Kentucky, right? He hit all the territories, man. And just listening to him, and I learned so much from him. And he told me, he says, you know what, Danny? He says, everybody, knows that you have a presence, but I think we're going to show everybody just how good you are.
There's more.
You know, there's more. And
That's
I was like,
the best
wow. I was
part.
like, there is? He was like, yeah. So, you know, and that's why when I finally got to work, like a program with him, those series of 3 matches, really 4 or 5 matches that we had together, 2 of them were tags. And then we had the crazy match, the cage match, and the barbed wire match.
Yep.
Those matches, you've seen my man cave.
Oh yes, I've sat
Down
in there
in-
many a times.
And there's posters.
Yep.
I had posters that mean meaning. And those 3 match posters are up in my man cave.
Yep.
And you
Shout
know,
out to the guy who printed them.
Yeah, shout out to this man cave.
you know, but like I said, man, those 3 matches with Pat, I mean, it was always like my dream. I was like, I want to be in the ring with this guy. Like, I want to be in the ring with Pat Buck. And so it was awesome doing that. And then last but not least, you know, I got, you know, I had the privilege of sitting under the learning tree of Mike Lombardi. And I learned how to be a champion. And he gave me the ball, and he taught me how to be a champion. And then I did something that I never had done before. I did a switch from babyface to heel, and I never lost my title. Okay, it
Very
doesn't
hard to
happen
do.
often.
Yeah,
Very
that's
hard to do.
rare.
Okay. He said, you know, he said, listen, we can't keep closing shows. You know what I mean? With you like up as a heel. He said, but we're going to show them how to. So, okay. I said, man, we did it, man. And just sitting like, you know, I always thought I had to figure it out, but now I saw how he's got his, because you have to also make yourself, you have to become a sponge, and you have to allow yourself to learn. You got to let down your guard, man. And you got to walk into a situation, you got to say, okay, this guy obviously is a great promoter because he's been doing this for 25 years, 26 years. I got to hear him out, man. So I'm like, okay, so then it's like jumping into his vision, right? And seeing how he books, how he does things, and how he's going to carry you along. Now, listen, I got to admit, Northeast Wrestling isn't a place that I thought I belonged at. If anything, I thought I was a little too rough in the edges for a place like that. And he told me like a year later, he says, you were my champion before you even came here. I knew.
That's always nice to find out.
Yep.
He said, I
After the
knew
fact. Yeah.
you were going to be the guy. And I knew it was going to piss a lot of people off that I was going to make you the guy here. That, I know a lot of the talent was going to be a little uncomfortable, but I know you had the stones to deal with it. I never gave you more than
you could handle.
what you can handle.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
he'll always sit at the curtain at a show. He's right there. He's on the headset. He's right behind the curtain. Crowd's on the other side. He's right there, man. He's in the whole thing. He's in it. And he listens.
Yeah.
He's got a fine tune to listen. And we would have a finish all night long, man. I'm set. I'm ready to go. Here we go. Bam. Trayvon's music. Trayvon Jordan's out there. All right, man. All right, Trayvon. Boom. We got everything set. We've worked on it all night. We're closing the show. I go, boom, you know my ritual, man. Water on the head. Here we go. Come here, baby. Come here, champ. So what's up? I'm not feeling what we got. Let's try this. I'm like, but he's out there already, boss. He's like, don't worry about it. You got it. And he would always do this to me. To a point where sometimes I thought it was a rib.
Right.
But he's like, I do this to you because you can handle it.
Right.
And to me, that gave me more
100%.
confidence. Like, I can't even explain it
means so
to you,
much.
man. It's like some drugs, man. It's like I was like in the zone. Cause like when that man talked to me, like I was focused. Like I said, okay, I got it. I said, okay. So you want to do this? You want to? All right, yeah. Well, instead of that, we're gonna do this. And then he put me with a manager called Vito. Greatest manager I've ever worked with, ever in my career, ever. This motherfucker is the GOAT. He is a heat-seeking missile.
Hey.
I thought you could get heat. You get heat. You get heat. Vito, the temperature goes up the second he don't have no music. All he has is a microphone. He's got that voice, and he's the cigar, and he's in a. He's just. I don't know if you've ever seen him.
I'm gonna have to.
If you ever watch my stuff in Northeast,
Vito, I mean, there are a few men named Vito, so I have to.
Vito, man, God bless you, Vito. Thank you. Some of the greatest times in my career were with you, and thank you because being with you and around you was a blessing, and it was some of the greatest times in my career, man. But like I said, leaving the nest, right? You have to, in order for you to grow, you got to leave the nest. And now there's different levels.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
So-
that was me.
Well explained.
Yeah.
Now there's other guys that I really, really saw. Guys like MJF. I remember speaking to him at Beyond. One time he was like, "Man, I don't know what to do. I need to take a chance. Maybe, I need to." I said, "Go talk to that guy. Talk to Sammy. He's got a fucking house full of crazy people.
The Ohio.
It's a crazy wrestling house. Talk to him. See what you got to do. See what you do to get in." Boom. He left the nest.
Yep.
Went to Ohio.
Yep.
And we're talking about leaving the nest and still, just as you had said before, you're leaving the nest and still paying homage and paying respect, just as you had mentioned, of going to training still
Oh, yeah.
3, 4 times.
Max has a tattoo. A Creative Pro on his leg.
Yep.
Listen, that was me with BWO, man.
And same thing with me in my time, IWF, and again, everyone's path in the industry is never the same. Everyone's is different, and one of the things that you talk about, when you talk about levels to this, and one thing I will bring up that I want young wrestlers to understand, because I went through this, and I say this with every fiber of my being. If you have a home base where you have trained at, if you have a legitimate trainer
I think I know where you're going
that
with this.
cares about your success and cares about wanting to see you make it, they will always tell you, go fly. If you are training now at a school where you have a trainer who is manipulating you to stay there,
Yep. Keep you
do
in.
yourself a favor.
Right.
Get as far the fuck away from that place and go somewhere else, because they are just there to take your money and keep you grounded.
Right.
I experienced that very early on, and so did a lot of people that I trained with. And it's not because it was we didn't know any better, because it was true.
You stayed there too long.
Well,
you're
yeah.
young.
Well, the reason
You're
why
young.
is you're young, you're naive, you're new, you're green. So you think that the person who is training you for this industry is setting you up for success, when in reality, they're actually taking it away from you.
Right.
I experienced that. I stayed in the home too long.
Right.
But once I realized it, I went the road less traveled. Like Danny, I went to different places. I learned what it was like to work in front of new crowds, figuring out what works, what doesn't, learning the art of knowing your audience, what you can do with certain audiences, what you can't, what you can push the envelope with, what you can't. I went to shows, and again, I know you part of it. You and I came from the era of the VHS tapes, right? The road less traveled. I say this, it is much easier for the talent today with the technology that you have at your fingertips. You don't understand why, and I say this, I think why guys guys like myself, guys like you today, after all these years, are still passionate, is because we had it harder. And it's not a knock. I'm grateful that the younger generation has an easier time trying to reach out. But we literally had to print 8x10s with a resume on the back and put a VHS tape together, find the addresses in the back of a PWI or something of where these shows are, drive there with no guarantee, just in the hopes of being able to hand that envelope over to somebody, but still doing the same things, helping out at shows where you're not booked, making those roads. Once I figured out how to get out there, got in a car with people on a Friday, drove to New England, went to work for Chaotic in the early days of Chaotic when it was still the Kowalski School. Then driving back and literally sleeping in my car overnight at my school to wait for the next car to pull up on Saturday to go the opposite way to Pennsylvania.
That's when he was still using electric tape.
Oh,
yes, when I was electric tape. I was.
Let's talk about those days.
But you know what? But again, my road was completely different. A lot of my learnings came from a lot of seminars when they were big. I credit a lot of my early learning tree to guys like Balls Mahoney and Chris Candido, who would just come up to our school and would just get in the ring with us. They would sit and talk with us. Then I would go up to Chaotic and I would train there, and I would listen to guys like Mike Hollow and Killer Kowalski, and they would teach you. And then I would do seminars when they were available. I did almost every seminar under the sun.
Right.
Shane Douglas, Raven, 123 Kid, Sean Waltman. And that's where the wheels started turning. Then I would get in the road with guys like well-traveled veterans, namely one of my mentors, Biggie Biggs, who came from that era, right? He came from that era on the independents, working with guys like Simon Diamond, Reckless Youth, all those guys, and I got to sit under that learning tree. And then making my way around to other places is where I truly started to understand. Going to the Carolinas and learning that, wait a minute, I can just grab a headlock and the crowd's going nuts. Okay.
A nicely applied headlock.
Right. Yeah. Then I got to come back to Pennsylvania where you got to pick up a little bit more and it's got to be a little bit flashier. So your road traveled was different than mine, but all accompanies the same piece, right? You have to leave the nest in order to learn all these things. And I bring it back to leaving the nest and taking a chance on myself again. Talk about sitting under the learning tree with guys like Pat. I was at a stagnated point in my career. I felt like I was floundering. Place that I had called my home had reopened and closed again due to differences, right?
As they come.
And I got a recommendation. Hey, you might want to come to Pat's. And again, that piece of taking a chance on yourself, leaving the nest, Pat never heard of me.
Right.
And that's okay.
Because you were ready to show him who you were.
I never heard of him either.
And I had, and he said,
vice
you know,
versa. Great.
but Pat,
First time for everything.
Right. And Pat said, you know what? Here's my school. Show me what you can do.
Right.
I was smart enough to know.
How'd you get in touch with her? Did you see and Franny?
They were the ones that gave me the say, hey, place is changing. Maybe you could benefit.
Yeah.
There it is, slide it. Yeah.
So I, again, took a chance on myself. I was confident in myself that I'm not going to say, hey, I've been doing this for a long time. I don't need to do this. I've always been of the mindset, and I say this respectfully, I hate politics. I hate the politicking game.
If I could just interrupt you 1 second.
Go ahead.
I have a funny story about his first time at WrestlePro. So he gets in the ring, right? I'm watching him. I see everything. Especially when I see a new face, and you know this.
Oh, yes.
I stand from a corner. I don't say much, but I'm watching, right?
You will occupy the corner.
Right.
And it's a beautiful thing.
And I'm watching because I like to see everything.
Sure.
And I'm watching. And I'm okay.
In the corner too,
I smell. I smell a new face, right?
Meat.
I smell it right now. But I know he's not young. I know he's grizzled. He's got the grays. You know what I mean?
We talking young in the game.
I could tell just by how he moves. You know what I mean? And I can see, man, he's got the knee pads on over the leggings with fucking Puma shorts on. He's wearing Puma sneakers. I'm okay. I'm watching him, right? He got the fucking, he's thick. He's got the barrel chest. Man, I watch how he gets in the ring. He wipes his feet. Now, me and Pat are standing side by side.
Wipe those feet.
We're standing side by side about maybe 15 yards from the ring. And he got into the ring and he put on a headlock. I'm watching. Just on the headlock alone. The break. Did another lockup. Shot the head again. And they did a spot and he took a hip toss. They did a universal. He ended up taking a hip toss. I turned to Pat. I said, we need this motherfucker here. I said, I want him here.
In the same way that Homicide said to you, you said it to him. And I credit that. And because a lot of guys...
I didn't even realize that. Holy shit. Yeah, you're right, dude.
So,
see, it's just the way that it's passed on to you. You pass it
It's
forward.
the circle of
exactly,
life,
right?
And
And again, one
to
thing...
that.
cheers to the
mean,
circle of life.
Yep. So here's my point to that, right? A lot of guys who at that point were doing it as long as I've been doing would say, no, I don't need to do that. Again, I hate politics. I'm in the business of let me show you what I can do because then you'll see firsthand what I can actually do. And I showed, and that opened a door for me. Again, no one gets where they need to be in the industry or in life just by themselves.
Right.
There's always going to be somebody there that's going to vouch for you if they believe you have the goods to deliver.
Someone supports you somewhere.
Where I got to that point was a culmination of years of work because, again, everyone gets to a certain level at different times. For some, it might take 5 years. For some, it might take 3. Guys like me, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, it's a different road. It's a different time.
Right.
Some of those experiences that we got those 10 years ago, people are not getting now. And if they did, it would fortify.
Right.
And you know something very important
Fortify
too.
them very
Since we're now talking about leaving the nest, it's very important for you guys that are recommending your little brothers, your little cousins, your friends of the neighborhood, people that you know. You're referring people to a nest, okay? Before you find a nest, do your research, do your homework, see who are the trainers there, see what they've done, see what they're doing. Because one nest just doesn't mean you're going from one nest, okay? Not everyone's going to walk in to, a Seth Rollins school or a Cody Rhodes school, or not everyone's, has the capability of that. You can start somewhere to get ready for that, to get ready for a 3D Academy, to get ready for a Creative Pro, because then from there you're going to leave that nest and you're going to go to Booker T's Reality Wrestling in Houston. Then you're going to do about 6 months to a year there. Then you're going to go over and you're going to hop over to Dustin's school or in Calgary, the place in Calgary. Or you're gonna go to another school up in Massachusetts or whatever,
New Hampshire, wherever.
Natalia.
You just have to. You have to. It just doesn't mean you have one nest,
right?
Okay, it just means
Plant your seeds.
It counts what
Everywhere.
nests
Plant
you go
seeds.
to.
Plant your
Okay,
seeds.
because I believe the best workers spend the most time around different people.
Yep.
And when you do that, that's how you grow, because that's how you start to network with different people. And again, the people you do right by in networking will recommend you to this place. Like you said, you plant your seeds, your tree grows. And as your tree grows, it grows branches.
That's what I feel
That's
like.
you branching out everywhere, doing different things. And again, being able to set that learning tree helped me also cultivate learning how to better train people.
Yep.
And now kind of transitioning to training incoming talent, which I absolutely have a love for. I have a love for passing along the knowledge that I've learned and teaching the things that I made the mistakes on, so that the younger generation now doesn't make those same mistakes. You know it, you know it.
give back.
The generation we came from, those old guys, and I don't mean to be rude when I say that, they only gave you enough just to get by, because if they gave you everything, they feared you would take their spot. I am of the mentality, I will give you everything I know. Please try to come from my spot. I'm not ready to give it up. You're not ready to give it up. You're not ready to give it up. But if you want that spot, step up and earn it. And the way you do that, branch out.
Yeah.
If you're at your own home school, doesn't mean just stay there.
Right.
I tell our students all the time, branch out. This is your home school. Go train, go up to New Hampshire, go visit Mike Hollow, who is a basics and fundamentals master.
And have patience.
Yes.
Don't think it's going to happen for you in 2 or
Right.
3 years, because it might
rushing.
not. It's
Right.
not everybody, okay, comes from, not everybody's mom and dad are Hall of Famers or
Right.
just in the business in general.
Yeah.
Everybody's different.
Don't be afraid to earn
Do
your keep.
not be
and
afraid.
go there. My thing
But don't
is, I
be,
came
but don't
up-
put a time limit either on yourself, man. Because the learning tree is real, people. Like the learning tree is real, and the learning tree never ends, baby.
never stop.
Never
growing.
ends.
And the biggest learning
Just like
tree,
American
yeah,
Dreams.
yeah.
Tell me, baby.
I know
it
you said
never ends.
it's on my mind. The biggest learning tree I would say to anybody when you're leaving that nest, if there is somebody in a locker room who is approachable, that has been doing this for a long time on a high level, part of leaving that nest is picking that veteran or that talent's brain.
Man, go sit next to that veteran.
Go sit next to him.
Go
Don't
sit
even
next to
talk
that
to them.
veteran.
Just dress next to them and watch and listen how they put.
You really want to?
mashed
You really
together.
want to get on his good side?
Yeah.
Say, hey, Mr. Carter, do you mind if I sit next to you? I want to learn. I just want to pick your brain. I want to feel the aura. Like I want to,
It's a blessing when that happens too.
I just want to see.
You got to see that side. of
Right.
it, too.
Just yesterday, I had a conversation. I spoke to a young man who I've watched grow up since he was a baby, and I said to him, hey man, how you doing? He said, I'm learning every day, man. I said, tell me about it.
Mm-hmm.
It was Lance. He's like,
of course.
man, I'm learning every day. It was like, he's like, this is amazing. I'm learning every day. Every day I learned something.
Yep.
I said, good, man. I said, I can't wait to see it.
That's the place to be, man.
I said, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see.
Yeah. And you never stop learning in this industry, because even when you see your friends, the younger generation that you help cultivate, or people that are your peers, and they make it to a bigger level, pick their brains.
Yeah.
You're going to still learn something brand new. That's why you have to leave the nest. There is no end to learning this industry.
Right.
It's ever changing. It's ever growing. It's ever
man, listen.
cultivating.
You know what I do every Sunday? First thing I do when I wake up? I go to my phone and I put on the master's class. I listen to Bully Ray, Mark Henry, Tommy Dreamer. I listen to those guys because I learned something.
Yep.
like a worker sometimes thinks they're too proud, man, to say, "Oh, I'm not gonna be a mark and listen to that." No, man, that's what those master classes are for. They're master classes for a reason.
Right.
So you learn from the masters. You learn the stories. You get to hear. Man, they are dropping some knowledge.
Yeah.
On our monkey asses on there, man. That let me tell you something, for free, we getting all this fucking knowledge for free.
Right. Look
Let
at
me
the
tell you
other-
something. People sleep on Bully. Okay. I was around that man, and I was around his aura. Man, the shit is real. That dude, let me tell you something. I learned more in one night. In one night, sharing a locker room with Bully Ray, before we even, started getting a rapport with each other, I learned more in one night from him than I probably did in years. Okay, just by watching him, watching his aura, watching him put shit together, listening to him. Okay, Bully. Tommy Dreamer. Talk about a guy who's been through it all. He's worn all the hats. Mark Henry. Been through it all, man. Sometimes he reminds me of things that I forgot. And I said, man, I got to go watch this. Because that dude, he lived the life. He lived the life. You know what I mean? And he had it fucked up coming up.
And he lived in the industry through 4 or 5 different eras of the industry.
And he came up hard, man. He had a lucrative contract, making more than the main eventers just by walking in the door. So he had a lot of heat coming in. And I only know this because I'm listening to his stories now. And I'm like, oh my God, like, it took stones to get through the shit he had gotten through. Like, man, we thought
Talk about leaving the nest.
That dude's got thick skin, man.
Talk about taking a risk on yourself. Talk about learning. Talk about growing. I had BWO coming up, Body Slam Wrestling Organization, way back in the day. That was Richie Rotten. Then Preacher came along. That was me going to college and then getting out of class and then waiting. Boom, 15 minutes later. Boom, we go to the place. We go to the BWO to go train at Hasbrook Heights.
Hasbrook Heights.
Hasbrook Heights, and I can tell you, being the definition of plant your
Love
tree.
you, Ricky O.
Yes, sir. Plant your tree and keep growing. I saw BWO get in contact with NWA. I was working with the Savaldis, so Angelo Savaldi, Tommy Savaldi, getting to learn. Wow, this is how they're putting a show together.
Joe Savaldi.
Yeah, Joe Savaldi, and the segments, and okay, look, 5 to 7, 7 to 10, and everything that was going on. That made me. This was happening 2012, 2011.
In real time, too fast.
Yeah, and right, and you're seeing these are the connections that I made because I stuck with BWO because I watched the place come up, and they brought me into their fold, right? So this is why we say, give back to your place and stay with your place as long as you can, because and reap those fruits and reap those benefits, right? Eventually, BWO, it goes defunct. What do I do? Where do I go? 2013, 2014, right? I'm over at Beyond Wrestling. I'm wrestling down there.
That's where I met you.
But there you go. But that's not where I lived. I wasn't there. That's not local. So you need to have a place, right? So I'm putting that risk on myself, showing people who Darius Carter is, putting the package together, making something that presentable. Here it is on your doorstep. Here it is. Here is Darius Carter, so that you don't ever have to ask, who is that guy? If
you
ever
were different, Darius. You were different.
You feel what I'm saying?
You had the coat.
And I had to deliver all
plain
of that.
black tights, the coat, the mask. When I saw that, I was like, oh shit. I was like, this motherfucker's different. And then I heard the heat. I was like, oh shit. Was it Rana? Was it American Rana?
American Rana.
Where we worked together? We were part of that crazy, like 8-man or 10-man.
Yeah. And then we did, that was fat.
That heat, bro. I was like, holy shit, they hate this motherfucker. I was like, holy fuck. But I had seen it before that when y'all worked with Pazuzu.
Thank you.
And I was like, oh my God. I was like, it was different. It was different.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to put. You have to put something together.
The whole package, the whole presentation.
Right. If you can get the eyes or pop somebody who's been in the industry for a long time. The first time they see you, you know you have something there. And that's what we're trying to do, not just for anybody. It's for ourselves, it's for the audience we portray. Never heard of you until the first time I went. The bodies, Heavenly Bodies, former Heavenly Bodies were booked on a show in New York somewhere. I decided to take the ride with them on a Friday. I can't remember for the life of me who you worked, but again, same thing. Came out with the coat, the mask. I'm like,
I think I know what you're talking about.
I'm like, who is this guy? I don't know. Whatever. There was something on the outside.
Wrestling one, something like that.
Tier 1?
Tier one.
Maybe a tier one. Yeah.
Tier 1.
Something on the outside who you're working with, and you gave him this nasty stomp on the ground, and I'm like, ooh, he must have caught. But I'm watching, and
He stomped me like that as a you motherfucker.
But I'm like, I'm listening to the audience, and I'm watching your work, and I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? This guy's good. Because I'm watching the show as a fan, hanging out. You know, you see everybody come out, but again, not marking out for you.
I appreciate it.
But you had, but I will. You had a presence, and it made me do this from being this in the chair all night to.
Right.
And I would tell
I'm
him.
watching. Yeah,
I would tell him, I'd say, that motherfucker's a heel.
Yeah. No, and it was good because the music was different. It was the whole, we talk about
It's captivating,
the presentation, right? But you didn't get there overnight. It
Right.
came from leaving the nest. It came from trying different things when you leave the nest, right? That's another thing young cats have to learn, right? Don't just try to do the same thing everywhere you go. Right. Experiment with what you can do.
Study the game.
Like Maff talks about getting up on Sunday morning. Sunday's a family day for me, right? But, you know, my significant other loves to sleep in. I'm an early bird. I love to get up. First thing I do, if I'm searching social media all week, I might see a clip of a match that I haven't seen in a long time or never saw. First thing I'll do, surf YouTube. Where's this match? Can I find it? And I'm literally taking 4 hours out of my Sunday in the morning to get some tape study in, because I know I'm going to learn something new, whether it's a match I've seen before or I've never seen it before.
Or one of the dozens of matches they send you every fucking week.
Exactly. But and I get that too, and I make a
watching
list. I make a list of stuff to study, stuff to watch, things I might want to try, guys that I've seen clips of that I've never really studied. I might want to study them and try to emulate certain things. Like, there's not a lot of footage right now. I am begging to find footage on the Bruiser, Dick the Bruiser, and the Crusher. Just old school, nasty barrel heels from, you know, Minnesota and Wisconsin. And they just had a different look, a different vibe. And I like watching their promos. There's very few, but they're like Vito, that rough and tough. But that resonates with me because you know why? I don't see anybody on the indies doing anything like that today. So, hey, maybe I can take something. Maybe the both of us as our team could take something from that. Again, it's never ending. It's never stopping. And the biggest thing I want young wrestlers to understand is what I said earlier. Enjoy the journey. Forget about what the destination is. It will come if you put in the work, but it won't come if you don't put in the work. We talk about leaving the nest. The biggest thing that sticks in my craw when I open up social media are the guys who don't put in the work, don't go anywhere, don't do anything relevant, don't think for themselves, don't keep themselves in shape, complaining on social media why they're not getting booked. No one respects them. They can't get this. They can't get that. It's because you haven't looked in the mirror to say, I haven't put in the work. So you either can stay complacent, like you said earlier, or you can change that and you can go the road less traveled and figure it out. No one's going to give you the keys to the kingdom in this industry, right? Nope. Yes, it can be a team thing, but it's also what I'll say it right here. You know it, I know it. This is a very one-sided, selfish industry. You have to take what you can when you can take it. But you have to take the chance on yourself, right?
Yep.
Because, hey, if you're going to be complacent somewhere and you're complaining and somebody else walks in and takes the main event spot, don't bitch and moan. Go to the curtain and watch why this person came in and is in the main event spot.
Yep, that's
Again,
don't ever wonder.
Part of leaving the nest and learning the industry. Like, you and I talk about it all the time. We're on the phone talking about ideas and why is this person in that main event spot on this program? Why on this promotion is this match the main event? Let's study the card. You're always trying to learn.
And that's what we talk about is studying the card.
Yes.
When I was gone from BWO, wasn't sure because they went defunct, wasn't sure where to go. End up at Warriors of Wrestling, doing a show where you would get together on Sunday and we would just tape them. We put them on YouTube, just matches against each other. We had studio tapings, like how Beyond It done, right? Studio tapings. I end up wrestling Joey Ace. He was the No Limits champion, Warriors of Wrestling No Limits champion. Put on that match. I'm that match to me as if there was a crowd there. Okay, there was wrestlers around the ring. Okay, we're recording for YouTube. It's about what you make it, guys. It's about what you make this. I said I'm giving this man everything as if there was a crowd there, as if this is my audition. Let's put it like that. I'm gonna use, if I'm wrestling for your promotion, what the Warriors of Wrestling presents Darius Carter, you're gonna see the best of me. I had that match with Joey Ace. Next thing you know, I'm in the company. Few months later, I'm No Limits champion. Few months later, wrestling at their December show, their biggest show of the year. The point of the matter is putting in the work, showing that you care, showing up, doing the promos, doing the promotional pictures. Do you need pictures? Here you go. What do you need from the match? Here it is. Who am I wrestling? Make them better. Giving back to them. Next thing you know, it does come back to you. If you are doing all of the right things, and if you're doing things and you feel like it's not coming back to you, then maybe you're not doing all of the right things. Because one thing I've always been is grateful. Because I know I'm giving everything I can to that opponent, and I know I'm giving everything I can to that circumstance, and someone somewhere will see me. And that is what has gotten me to this point. That's what got me from BWO to having no home to Here Comes Warriors of Wrestling to expanding upon that to where I am today.
A couple of things that I've seen that I've witnessed, firsthand, right, is the relief and the gratification and just that the relief on a promoter's face when he's dealing with a guy who he doesn't have to say much to.
Right. It's the best feeling in the world.
Because
Chase
I
that
know
feeling.
by habit, I will show up. I get my marching orders. Well, what do you want? How much of it do you want? Where are we going from here? What's the selling point? What? Boom, boom, boom. I was like, Maff, you're so easy to work. You're so easy to work with. Every promoter I get to deal with, you're so easy to work. Yeah. And they were like terrified because they thought I was gonna like be a nightmare coming in.
Yeah, they're scared.
Tommy Fierro,
they're scared.
Thought I was like, he thought I was like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right.
He thought I was like, walking in, he's like, Jesus Christ, this fucking guy. I get a microphone. Tommy Fierro's like, oh my God. He's like, and he would rib me. He would say, grab the microphone. I would grab the microphone just because he wanted to see Tommy's reaction. Like Tommy was like, but it was like, but
like
then,
maybe the Higgy PG.
Yeah, gotta work it. Gotta work it.
And that Tommy would say PG Maff, and Tommy always say, I love PG Maff.
Yeah.
But it's like, but it's just, and I see how Joey looks at you, and I would see how Drew used to look at you, and like I see how with ease Kevin looks at you. And Pat, because they don't have to stress when they watch you and they give you your marching orders. So they don't have to stress. It's very relaxed when they come and they tell me what they want.
Yes.
Because I feel like I've earned that position to where they know what they ask me, I am going to deliver to them. And I ask them for the details because I'm gonna deliver those details.
Same with me. Same with you and Jerry. It's the same thing, right? Show we had in New York last week, right? I got my marching orders. I was told what I needed to do. Easy.
Right.
You told me what you wanted. Okay, let's build them. Let's build them.
Let's elevate it.
And that's it. And you know, again, what did the promoter say when he came over to me that the young kid said to him about the match? He said, I learned more in that 10 minutes than I had learned in 4 years, right? I take that with a lot of pride because I didn't get to that point without leaving the nest.
That was
right?
Friday, right? Friday?
Yeah. And you look at it like what I'm doing now, like, and what I'm learning doing behind the scenes, right? We talk about
Those kids have never had a match like that.
but when you talk about what you're learning in the early days, right? That's your college education. Don't forget, right? What comes after a bachelor's degree? Master's. Our points in our career, we're in the master's program now, right? We're learning other things now on how to make sure that we leave the industry better than the way we found it, which is what it should be in any industry, right? So that's where, if you really want to be a part of this industry, you have to be that sponge. You have to be uncomfortable or being uncomfortable. And you have to, the main thing, like you said at the very beginning, you have to take a chance on yourself. You took a chance on yourself in your own way. I took a chance on myself in my own way. You took a chance on yourself in your own way. We all travel different roads, just like every wrestler is going to travel their own road. But if you don't get out on that open road, you're going to stay in that pond for the rest of your life. And you're always going to wonder when you look in the mirror, what if? Young wrestlers, don't be the what if, be the look what I did.
Don't be what if.
That's what you have to do. And I say that
Looking
with
out
so
the
much
window.
passion because it frustrates me when I see guys half my age wasting their life away in the same 40-mile radius when yet I still have so much passion to want to go international, want to do this, want to do that, learn how to be a better coach, learn how to be a better personality.
This week, we just spent 2 days talking about, listen, man, I think it's about time we tap into Canada.
Yeah.
I think it's about time we tap into Central Slaughter to Puerto Rico. I think it's about time Central Slaughter, starts hitting, Canada, starts hitting Europe.
So what are we doing? We're creating those inroads, right? We're creating those paths. Young wrestlers, please take a chance on yourself. Don't waste all of these bumps that you're taking in class for nothing.
Yeah, for the same thing that you've been getting for 2, 3, 4 years.
Right.
At some point, understand the line, see the line, and be ready to step over that line. Because on the other side, there's going to be something different than everything you've seen on your side. If you have hit the pinnacle of your side of the line, at what point do you say, let me step over? Let me see what that air smells like, what that atmosphere feels like, because that atmosphere, for me, fires me up. That atmosphere makes me want to find another atmosphere. I want to conquer that, and then let me conquer another.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Listen, the WWE is great. That's the holy grail. It's beautiful. Japan, it's beautiful. AEW, it's beautiful. TNA, it's beautiful. Impact, it's beautiful.
Right.
But the Indies is a different animal.
You make your own magic.
You got to be a special kind of savage, okay, to just survive, become special, and thrive, and just last. But whether you leave the nest, whether you fly the coop, whatever you want to call it, one thing that I always tell all of you young kids, the learning tree is real.
Yep.
Don't be afraid of it. Don't run from it. Don't rush it. The learning tree is real, man. Yep. Sit next to those veterans. Change next to those veterans. Watch how those veterans pack their bags. Watch how those veterans walk into the building. Watch how they put their matches together. Watch how they... Don't be afraid to ask a veteran, excuse me, sir, what's your finish? Okay, because then you hear them calling their match, and they started with their finish, and they're working to the beginning. Or you may find out, wow, the heel really isn't calling anything because he doesn't have to.
Womp womp.
Okay, you know, it's just it's little things, you know what I mean? And I hope that if anything, like you young cats out here on the indies that are starting to work or that are about to take this leap of faith into this crazy world of wrestling, watch this and maybe you guys pick something up, you know, maybe we dropped a couple of names that, you know, you recognize. Like I said, man, we cannot tell you how to get to the main event of WrestleMania. I can't do it because I've never done it and I've never been there. But I can tell you how to survive these indies and I can prepare you for what's ahead of you. Mm-hmm. And I ain't going to bullshit you a lot. I'll tell you the truth. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the truth may not be too comfortable. Sometimes it may not be what you want to hear. But it's the truth. And the learning tree is real.
I say to you, to the young ones, water your grass. Please. You know, take care of the places that have taken care of you. The places that you trained at, the places, Warriors of Wrestling, that relationship to me is diamond because for everything that they have given to me and everything they have presented to me, every opportunity that they put for me and said, and Joey said, hey, man, here it is. Go ahead and deliver. And I delivered and was able to give that back. That to me is an accolade. That to me is an accomplishment. Mm-hmm. That to me is planting a seed. Okay, but Joey knows I always have Joey Warriors. We always have Warriors. And
I love watching you and what you've done over there.
Thank you.
I love it. And I know you have a lot to do with me being there.
Man.
You know, but like I said, but we're there for the greater good to get these kids.
Mm-hmm. And then you take that, and then you go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And then you take that, and then you go somewhere else. And then you get to look back one day, and when I say stop and smell your roses, and guess what? Maybe you look outside your window and you look at all the trees you planted, and you said, wow, this is really making a difference. This is really making history. This is really leaving the business better than how you left it. Yep. Plant your trees everywhere that you can. Let them blossom. Enjoy those fruits. Mm-hmm. Come back. The tree will still be there. But allow yourself to harvest, to build, and go for the love of God. Breathe new air. Try to breathe new air because you need to see if what you have work somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And that's what we talked about, those crowds. When you go to a Maine crowd and then you go down to a North Carolina crowd and then you hit a Florida crowd, then you hit a Texas crowd, they're not all the same. Mm-mm. Can you translate to that? Can you translate that to your match? That's how you plant your tree. If you can put a little seed in Texas, a little seed in Florida, you are living the business. You are succeeding. Breathe new air, plant new roots. And that's my lesson to the young guys, man. Just water your grass, give back to your home territory, but get out and don't be afraid. Do not be afraid because the worst thing that you do is you go out there, you have a match, and something you may feel goes wrong, but something's got to go right because you got there to begin with. Mm-hmm. Something put you there to begin with. There's a reason that you were chosen from other people because that's what a booking is you were chosen over somebody else. Whether it was intentional or not intentional, they weren't thinking of another person, but they chose you.
Mm-hmm. You know, you're right. But with you saying that, you know what I think? You just struck a chord in me. I think it's about time that the three of us, collectively, made our way into Mexico. Man. I think we need to cross the border and show them and show those vatos what heat
is really all about.
What heat is.
Can I get in these?
Because I'm not afraid. Oof, I'm not afraid to get some heat.
Me neither.
I'll get a security team.
You've seen what happens. There's different levels of heat, man. There's Darius Carter heat in New York. There's Danny Maff, I hate New York heat. You know what I mean? And then there's the Shawn Donavan heat. You put those three heats together, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yep. I think it's about time We take this show to Canada. We take this to Mexico, and we even make a little pit stop in Puerto Rico.
I'm prepared to conquer the world.
Well, that was it for episode 6. We will be back with episode 7. The last thing I will leave everybody with when it comes to leaving the nest. Do you want to be a $40, a $400, or a $4,000 performer? Choice is yours. We'll see you back episode 7.
Beautiful.